Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995.
You're live.
Okay. Hi, am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Okay, welcome to my show. I have quite a few people in the studio, and I'm waiting for your questions. Okay, I think, Lola, you had something that you wanted to ask me, so I'm ready for you.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Lola.
Welcome back from beautiful trip.
Thank you.
My question is, so we have astral bodies and many bodies beyond this dense physical
What you're gonna
bodies.
do is put in the commercial right now. Yeah, in preview.
So
Don't
when you're
fade
in
it
an
over.
astral body or in another
Commercial,
dimension,
comerciales, yeah. And those two. Click on that one.
what is the world like?
on the other one.
Like, do you have,
When
is
those
it
are
like
done, you
earthen
put the rejoin
kind
there.
of structure? Is it, do they have houses?
Wait,
Do they,
'cause I'ma
what
come
do
back
you
and
know
help you.
about that?
Actually, I do, because that's how I started
Good
my
job.
spiritual journey. I was traveling in my astral body. I didn't know too much about it at that point, but now, because of what it has happened to me, I was going a couple of times a week. So yes, it's not so unsimilar to here, only we have much more freedom with that, because we can, quote, fly around. So when we're in our astral, and we're all there, we just don't know that we're there. So to me, it was quite an experience. I'm from London. I was visiting London. I actually, for myself, I went to many different planets in my astral body. I was also abducted, but that's another show. But during that period of time, I was in my astral body. I saw very many things. I didn't at that point know what was happening to me. I knew where I was going. But obviously when I came back, quote, to Earth here, I examined what was happening. And many, many people have experiences that they can relate to in their astral body. It's very interesting. I love the subject. Do you have anything that you want to elaborate, or another question?
Okay, another question. What can you tell about Anunnaki? I don't know. Maybe it's off topic. I mean, is he created Earth? Is it?
Okay, I
do you
find
have
that
any knowledge from your trips out there?
Yes,
from the
I do.
connection to alien species?
and I find that very interesting, Lola, because we met here, and the fact that you're even bringing that up, because I had my guide who materialized, and people that have been following me know his name was Aldo. He talked a lot about the Anunnaki. So I studied it. I mean, there is on the internet, but I began to understand, and a lot of my memory came back from those days. Your question is, who are the Anunnaki? They were the first people that came, I think. Well, they weren't the first people on Earth, but I know that you can relate to this. They came because their planet from another planet was in trouble, so they came to Earth to mine their own planet. I mean, it's a long history that we can go into, but the fact that you're even asking me that question to me shows how on a spiritual energy, how our vibrational energy goes out, because there's only a small population that knows about that, and I understand it because of my guide, and they have actually come to me to give me messages. So anybody that wants to listen or is interested in the Anunnaki, my suggestion is to go into the internet. I can sit here and explain it, but it will take up most of the show. But the fact that you asked that question is very relevant, and I enjoyed the fact that you asked me that. They were one of the first inhabitants here on Earth. They weren't the first, but they were here to mine their own planet. I can go into it deeply, maybe on another show.
Sally, I got a different question for you, and welcome back.
Thank you.
3 weeks is way too long. Does everybody have a spiritual guide with them?
Absolutely they do, Freddie. The fact that just knowing that that's a very good question too, because when we all go through our trials and revelations here, we have problems, but all we really need to do is ask. We may not know the name of our spirit guide, we may not have any understanding of who they are, but talk to them, because they're here to help us. We all have spirit guides. I can't tell you how many, but we have quite a few. Each one may be a little different. They're here to help us. And by talking, just listen, and your gut, and I think I've mentioned this before, will give you the answers of how they're talking to us. We can go to mediums or psychics, and that can elaborate a little bit more, but we can do it ourselves. Go with our intuition and see what the question we ask, see how they answer.
But then how do you meet your guides? That's exactly my second question. How do you introduce yourself to something besides just saying, okay, I believe this and that? Guides gives us messages. How do we introduce ourselves to ourselves?
By believing that they're around us. This is really important, because sometimes, we think it's our imagination that's talking to us, and I did too. But I've had a lot of validation to know that there is so much more. They talk to us, but it's not in the way that we talk. It's like telepathy. So listen, just listen to your own self and see what you come up with. Even if you're imagining it, so what? It doesn't matter. Go ahead with the answers that you feel that you're receiving. Unless it's something that may be not great for you, then you may have to question it again and ask them another question.
Do you have to trust and believe in what you hear?
That's really, really important. The whole thing is, as far as what I can tell, is believe in this. If you believe, then you're open to many more possibilities. If you say to yourself, this is absolute rubbish, I can't understand any of this, then you're blocking it. Why not be open to it? What can you lose? It doesn't matter. Just believe that there is so much more. That's the whole point of this, I think, to start. That's how I started my journey. I was getting many messages. I was getting validations, and I said to myself, I think there's more. I was astral projecting. I was on the other, I was going in my body, out of body, and I couldn't deny that.
Sally, just to kind of piggyback off of Freddie here, since we're talking about spirit guides, do you believe or do you have also a spirit animal?
Do we have a spirit? I'm sorry, I didn't
Animal?
Yes, we do. I believe that we do. I don't know, unless they tell me more myself personally, too much about that. But we do have animals too, because they're in spirit and they actually come here, and we prove that, especially with dogs. They're here to help us. They can even tell us, kind of sniff out our illnesses. So if we believe that, we will hear from them. We do. We have both.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi, Sally.
Hi.
Right now I'm going through a lot of spiritual warfare, and I remember you called my guy's name was Ishmael. I just wanted to know what he was saying for me for the week.
Well, I haven't been here for a few weeks because I've been on a vacation, but I felt him around me. The fact that I was able to get his name, that was very important, because he felt that it was very important that I relayed that to you, and you knew about that. So I feel he's with you. Listen to you're able to do this, so listen to your own. And I go through intuition, because that's important. If we listen to our intuition, we're not normally, it's something that we're meant to do. So he's around you. The fact that we were able to get that name from a spirit that was guiding you was very important validation for us. Okay, so just know he's only going to give you what you need to know.
Yes, ma'am.
That's your intuition.
I have a question. Can you explain astral projecting a little more?
Astral projecting.
Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting. Astral projecting.
Yes, actually I can. This is how I actually started my journey. I was already on my spiritual journey, but I was obstinate. I didn't necessarily, I believed it, but I didn't know all these things. So astral projection is a form of what I used to call, which I wrote in my first book, flying. You feel the sensation of flying. This happened to me, and I was going to different planets, and I couldn't understand how this was happening. But with
Yeah,
it was
put the
very
preview
real
on,
to
remember
me
I said,
because I would
so
come
you can
back
hear it.
from my, quote, dream, from flying, but I
Yeah, 'cause you don't have
remembered
the
it
preview
all.
on.
I could feel the
Now you hear it.
vibrational energy. I can even
You get
tell
me?
you from 18 years ago, from a dream, no, it wasn't a dream, it was astral projection of where I went and what I saw. So we actually all do go. We just don't know where we're going because we have an astral body.
Yeah, and that was like my example, cause like some nights I'll go to bed like peaceful, whatever. But then when I wake up, like my body will feel intense, like not how it was when I went to bed. So I'm just like, where am I going?
Well, you'll feel the sensation. I mean, this is what happened to me of, quote, I didn't know. I just knew I was flying around. But obviously, when I came back and I was here, I did more research on this. And I was lucky enough to have my guide who was here, who was telling me what was happening. But we dream, we astral project. The astral projection part of this is that you remember it. It's just like you're in a place and you can remember maybe 4 or 5 years ago what you are. You don't remember a dream, but you will remember the astral projection.
Yeah, I remember like
Because
certain
it's
parts
real.
of it, yeah.
It's real. We have an astral body. Thank you.
What's up, Sally?
Hi.
I'm all the way in the back. I'm sorry.
Hello, that's okay. I can hear you, Josh.
It's Josh, though.
I know.
Is it okay to be annoyed sometimes? Like, do you have to be happy all the time and, stuff
No.
like that?
We do not have to be happy. I'm not happy all the time.
Okay,
it's
good.
quite okay. We're having an experience here, okay? And if you feel frustrated and you're angry, that's okay too. Don't worry about that. That's fine. I get angry.
Okay. Because I was watching another video, too. I mean, I guess it goes back to the thoughts that you get in your head. It was a video, and it says, you have this thought that comes up. All you have to look at it is like a little cloud in the sky and just watch it pass over.
Well, actually, my guide used to tell me this. Observe it. Look at the situation. If you're angry, look at it from a point of view that you're the third party observing what you're seeing, and that will help you. And you kind of see the whole situation from a different perspective. I trained myself to do that. Sometimes, obviously, I'm here and I get angry, but I try to not leave my body, but I look at it from a third point of view as an observer. He told me that was very important to observe it from a different perspective. Does that help you?
Oh, yeah. Thank you,
Good,
Sally.
Good.
Question: what did the guides tell you about our business path?
I love that question because I feel that I'm here also to answer these questions again, and I've said this many times. What you have here, it's great, Dawn. Just know what you're doing. You're in the correct place to bring in the correct people. But having said that, you also have to kind of use your own intuition when people walk in here, because you attract a lot of positivity here. I feel it. I see it. I feel very connected to a lot of people that walk in. But it doesn't always go that way. So use your intuition, which you have. And if you feel that maybe someone, and I'm not quoting anybody because I don't know, but someone that might walk in here, that their agenda may be slightly not, I'm not even saying wrong, but it might not be gelling with you, if that makes sense, then look into that. But overall, you're having the most amazing experience in here. I really feel that. I feel that I'm part of that. Hopefully, I'm bringing in the positive energy here. I mean, we've proved it. I've been here nearly a year now, and the people that have come here, it's amazing. You're on the right track, and this is going to expand. You're right there for it to really, really take off. I feel that. I really do.
What do you think is missing to get to that next level?
Believing in it. I'm getting goosebumps as I say that. You are at that next level, but you don't know that you're there. So everything that I talk about, which is positivity, just know. And I'm going to say it's just a matter of time, but time is what we feel is time. It's irrelevant. It's already happened. Know that, believe that, and you're going to expand beyond belief. But, you know, we're all in a hurry for these things to happen, but I can tell you, you're right at the edge of this, okay? It's going to expand beyond your wildest dreams, but it's up to you. You have to believe that. And I know you do, because we've had numerous conversations about things. So just know that it's very, very nearly happening. But also go with caution with some of the things too. And I think I've said this before. The majority of people that we bring in, and I'm saying myself too because I have brought people in here, are everything that is meant to be happening. But occasionally, and I'm obviously not mentioning anybody because I can't think of anybody and I wouldn't do that anyway, go with a little caution sometimes. That's important too. Go with a little caution.
What do you think about being extra sensitive?
That's okay too, because when you start your spiritual journey, and I feel that too, it's like you're protecting yourself in some ways. So your feelings are a little bit, they become more than they ordinarily would be. I mean, sometimes let's use this as an example, I'm laughing, but then I'm thinking, what am I laughing about? Because I got too much into this. So be aware of what's happening, but as long as you're in a positive space, and I know people may get sick of me talking about positivity, but it's so important, even if you don't see it at that time. All good things will happen because we lift our vibrational energy.
Because a lot of people in here, they're sensitive to more smells, to the lights, to energies. It seems like it's just magnified inside here.
Me too. I am too. I mean, I can start coughing for no reason because something is bothering me. But I think the more, and I quote spirituality, I mean, it's a very broad word because we all have our own way of learning of spirituality. But with spirituality, no matter where we are, we become more sensitive. I'm very allergic to smells. I mean, even, and Steve will tell you this, if he sprays something, I'll start coughing and sneezing. So it's just part of the territory. So just know that we're becoming more sensitive to things, not only sensitive to understanding spirituality, but we're becoming more sensitive to our world, our planet, because that's how we're getting in touch with things. And it will affect us. It will affect us, but we can get rid of it.
What do you think about people who are just harsh on themselves?
Harsh on themselves?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I noticed that more and more people that come in here, they want to do certain things, and the first thing they do is turn about on their own abilities, or they're just very strict on themselves, or they don't believe that what they're doing is correct, or they're being judged by everybody else, things that they're making up themselves.
That's part of who we are, actually.
Well, how does that play a role in trusting your guide?
And there's a good answer to that. The fact that they've walked in here and they may want to talk about themselves, I would call that the first step in acknowledging who we are. Because we're all we're playing a game here, but we have to know who we are. The fact that they may walk into your cafe here and maybe talk about what they're doing, they're on the right track. The best thing to do with people like that is actually tell them, well, you're here, talk about yourself. Positive feedback for them, because they are ready to talk, no matter what they're talking about, they're ready. It's up to us now to understand that and give ourselves a pat on the back and say, okay, I'm going to talk. I mean, for me too. A few years ago, if I thought I was sitting here in a chair going out to a lot of people on the airways, I'd go, I don't know if I'm capable of doing that. And I let you into a secret here. I have not been here for 3 weeks. I actually said to Steve, do you think I'm going to be able to do this? Because, I mean, it's part of who I am. That's part of us judging ourselves, but have confidence in ourselves. And if you can tell people, have confidence in yourself. You're here, you're ready to talk. I tell myself that, and here I am talking about it.
Yeah, but you challenge yourself is one thing, but to say, I don't want to do this because I really don't have anything positive to say is another.
Okay, so you're talking about maybe people that walk in here or just people in general?
No, they don't have to necessarily walk in here. They're in general.
Okay, well, they have a lesson to learn. They need to understand that maybe something that they're saying is important to the world. We judge ourselves more than we realize, actually. We judge ourselves very harshly. But if we can realize, and this is just coming to me from my guides, that we are judging ourselves, then take a step back and say, look, have a look at our lives and see what we've achieved. It may be good, it may be bad, but the fact that we're looking into how far we've come, and the fact that they're telling me we recognize that, that's really, really important. So now we can go on just by baby steps and prove to ourselves that we are worthy of what we're talking about. I mean, I struggled with that actually, because I said, well, what can I do? What have I had to offer? But my guides kicked in and I get messages, so I'm able to do that. And hopefully I'm transmitting that to people. I'm not alone with this. We all can do this. Have faith in yourself. Again, and I use this expression a lot, be true to yourself. Know that what you have can be important, even if it's just to maybe 20 people are listening and 2 people can listen to that and can relate to that, then you're doing a good job.
But isn't important to oneself the beginning before anybody listens to what's important from you? Shouldn't we take ourselves more seriously without judgment?
I love this line of questioning actually, because it's very important. Yes. You know, a good way to maybe look at this, and this is just coming to me too, if we have something, we all have something to offer to society, be it little, be it big, it doesn't matter. We all have something. Write it down. They're telling me this. Write it down. And say, if I was reading this, how would I react to this? That's really important. And if I can see how I will react, even though it's what I'm saying, other people will react to that. So my answer to that question, and I've never had this question before, but it's coming through very strong, is to write it down and see how first we would react to our own question. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
It does to me too, listening to this.
Makes a lot of sense, because a lot of people are very quick to judge themselves without giving themselves a fair chance to listen to the answer.
And that's a great way, isn't it? So we put that out. I mean, I may even do that myself if I have a topic that I want to talk about, and I'll say, well, I don't like to know my questions, so I'm a little different here. But see how I would react to my answer. And it's important because I don't believe anything is coincidental. If we have a question, there is an answer to that. And if we're asking the question, we have the answer.
True that. Okay.
Thank you. I want to thank my guides for that, because I've never discussed that before, but they're coming through very strong with this. It's very important. It's a very important question.
Do you see our guides that are here?
I don't necessarily see them. I feel them. I feel there's a lot of guides, quote, entities in the studio here. And as you said that, Dawn, I feel that I can see above everybody here that they've accumulated here. I mean, this is just me talking, but I really feel this very strongly, because how am I able to answer these questions? Realistically, in my mind, I don't know the answers. However, they're helping me. So I feel that we have a lot of entities in this room.
Do they have a message?
When I'm asked the question, I can give the answer. They all have messages, each one of them. But just like I'm able to answer because they're talking to me, they feel the same. They will answer. They don't necessarily, if you ask a question, you have to ask, for me anyway, that's how I interpret it, through a question.
Sally, my brother right now is feeling like he's a failure. What can I do for him to make him feel like he's not?
Okay. Just give him positivity. Make him feel good about himself. Give him all his positive feedback on what he has done in this lifetime. Show him that. And by you being an example of you doing that, it'll help him tremendously.
And what if
every time he comes to the fact, if he's talking to you and he feels like he's a failure, pull him up, because that's bringing him out of that lower vibrational energy.
To piggyback on that, actually, Sally, what if you've already been doing that for someone who's been feeling that way and doing everything that you can, but, you know, already being there, supporting them, you know, helping them find their confidence in themselves, but they're just
Lashing out.
I know that there's stubbornness and everything, you know what I mean, but what is there anything further we can do to, like...
Okay, my answer to that is you teach people by example, but we're all in different phases in our life. And sometimes when people are going through that, and I mean, this sounds ridiculous, but I went through it too. We need to go through that to come out the other side. We can only show by example. We can be positive, but if they honestly really don't want to listen, that may be where they're at that particular time. But don't give up on people. That's important too. But we're all in different stages of our journey. Sometimes when we have things and it keeps going in the same direction, which may be what we would call a lower vibrational energy, we sometimes have a lesson to learn from that. So it will keep repeating itself. But as long as we know that there is more and we remain positive, we will bring ourselves out of it eventually. But you know, timing is different for everybody.
Can you feel energies in homes?
Can I feel energies in homes? Yeah, I can. I can walk into a room and feel that there's an energy there. I mean, obviously I don't go around the whole time. The way that I am now, I turn it off. But if it's really bothering me, I will look into that and find out what it is. I might not necessarily voice it, but I can feel it, yeah, because I'm an empath and I can feel that.
Yeah.
And what do you do if you're in a situation when you walk into somewhere and you feel that negative energy, but you're unable to leave in the moment? How do you handle that?
Okay. The negative energy that you're feeling is like it's a wake-up call. Don't try, if you really can't, my advice is to turn around and leave, but you can't always do that. So just be aware of it. Try to keep your own positivity about it, because it's also, the lesson not necessarily is for you, but it's for somebody else in a room that's going through that. So they may need to go through that negativity to come out of it. But if you feel that it's nothing to do with you, just don't get caught up in it. Do your best to be positive with your surroundings, with people. I mean, I'm not sure, this is what I'm feeling, but don't get caught up in it. That's what I'm hearing too. Because the moment you lower your vibrational energy to someone that's, let's say, that is depressed, you're going to pick up part of that. However, you can raise above that too and bring yourself out of it. And with that process going on, you can also bring somebody else out of it.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
It's just that the person has to want to come out of it, right?
Yes, but you know what? And this may sound ridiculous, but sometimes it's where they're meant to be.
Yeah.
So although you can be positive, you don't want to get caught up in that energy. Just know that maybe they're going through something and they have to go through it so that they're finished with it. It's a form of karma. But don't yourself get caught. Just be aware that you don't want to get caught up in their stuff.
Yeah, because the other day, I look in my brother's eyes, it wasn't him.
Okay, that's a very good, because I feel that I do, you know, there's certain people in here, and you're definitely one of them, that you can feel this.
It wasn't him.
No, and it may not have been, but don't get caught up in that. Try to lift him up. But at that point, if it's going to pull yourself down, you're
I
getting
can never
nowhere.
get pulled down because I love my brother too much. So
Okay.
I helped him out of his little thing, but you can still feel the energy around him.
You may have to step away for a while out of that situation, although it may hurt you, but he may need to go through that, but you don't want to get caught up in it. And when you feel that you're ready, you know, and he's ready, then you start with the positivity again to lift him up. Because we all have things that we have to go through, because if we don't, we're going to go through it at another time. But make it easier for him. Yeah. Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes after the commercial break. Bye-bye. Okay.
This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybarnard.com today. Now, back to the show.
Good afternoon, everybody. Here we are back. I'm ready for your questions. I'm waiting for them. Please call in. The number is, Dawn, can you give the number out? Because I'm already in my trance.
888-994-4995. Studio A. Julie Ann says hello.
Hi. Hi, Julianne.
Julianne.
Hi, Julianne.
And Frank and Linda are watching as well.
Great.
Today seems to be a day filled with drama.
Okay.
What can I do to alleviate some of the situation?
Well, okay, that's a very open-ended question because we all do have problems and drama. But the best way that I know that we can do this is just talk to yourself, because you're not really, and say, I don't want any more of this. I've had enough drama today. Let's change this situation. And it works if you believe it. Because it is, for some reason, people are going through a lot of drama today. Okay, it's one of those days. We don't have to continue with it. Let's stop it right now. It's going to be a beautiful day from here on in.
That's exactly how I did it yesterday.
Perfect.
I looked at my brother's face and I was just talking to him. I told him we could close this page and start a new one.
Perfect. So that's a really good example. What can happen? Maybe it won't work, but I know it will.
It worked, actually. Because I had sage in my house and Palo Santo in my house and sprayed it with holy water.
Beautiful. That's, you know, my message is a lot, and I know I talk a lot about being positive, and people might say, oh, there she goes again about being positive. But I don't care, because it's really, really important for us to be positive.
It is.
It's important, actually, even for the world, because the more we lift our higher vibration, that goes out into the universe, and more people that are feeling low will say, you know, something about today, it's not all that bad. And then they'll lift their vibrational energy.
Yep.
So I will continue with my positivity, whether people like it or not.
That's how I feel about today. Like this morning, I was like, today feels like a Sunday, just on some chill, just calm and good. And I was like, okay.
Okay, that's good.
But, yeah.
You know, we don't always have to, we all rush around. We don't really, as I used to say, take time to smell the roses. It's really important because it brings us even, and I'm going to say roses actually, because it brings us to nature. It calms us down. If we can recognize that, just calm yourself and then just think positive thoughts, what you might want from here on in into your future. Maybe it won't happen right away. I believe sometimes when you really believe this, it can happen right away, but just know that it can happen and change your thoughts. And if you change your thoughts, you're changing your world around you.
I went to a psychic medium event yesterday, and I was thinking a lot about you. And the overall message I got, not that he read me, was that everything's going to be fine. We get caught up in so much people's stuff of panic and fear that truly our guardians are always with us, watching for our best, the greatest good for us. But we just get caught up in so much fear and panic. What do you think about that?
You said it perfectly, Dawn. Yes, we do. We are, if you want to say, our own worst enemy. Because when we recognize that, we are what we think, as I just said. So the more we panic and the more we think things are going to go wrong, we're lowering, and again, I know I've mentioned this many times, we're actually lowering our vibrational energy. So all that can go wrong happens to go wrong. What we need to do is say, I've had enough of today. I want my day to be great. This is what I want in my day. Voice what your opinion is, what you want for the day. And as we do this, because it's like going out into the airwaves, it's hard to explain, but as we lift our vibrational energy, we're now going to attract the people of that level that are already thinking that way, and things start to change. I mean, there's nothing wrong, even if you don't believe it. Let's do it and see what happens. Because just see that we bring people in at the energy that we are at. So if we're low, we're bringing a low vibration. If we bring our vibration up, we're bringing in a higher vibration. It's really simple, but we have to believe it.
What about when negative energy causes you to feel ill? You're in a party and you just know it's not going to go well. Is there a way to clear that?
Well, my immediate reaction on that is actually to leave. Because if it's actually affecting you in that way, which it can, just say, I'm sorry, be honest, I'm not feeling well, and exclude yourself from that situation. If there's a reason that you can't possibly do that, recognize that, go with it and say, this is not where I'm at. I need to just, even if you just leave the room for 5 minutes, if you go into the bathroom or wherever you want, change your thought process. Because if it's making you feel bad, there's a reason for that, and that's not good. So try to change that, and then go back and see what happens. But the most important thing is to be aware of what is happening to you when this is going on. We can't always change other people, but we can change ourselves and our thought process. So my advice actually is to just leave. Because if it's making you feel ill, you just say, I'm not feeling well.
What happens if it's your house and you can't leave?
Well, you have a little more of a problem, I understand that. But whatever is bringing that into your house, try to see what that is. Maybe it's a person in your house that's brought it with them into your house. So then now talk to that person and say, you're making me, you'll be honest, you're making me feel uncomfortable. What's going on with you? Because if you're able to recognize that, you can talk to that person because you can feel it's that person if you're feeling that. And just say, how can I help you? Let's try and change this situation. Talk it out. Talk it out if it's your house, because you can't always leave your house. So
I like to stand up to my problems. Even
Yes.
if I was in a public space, I would identify the problem and then talk to him.
It's easier, obviously, if it's not in your own home. But if it's in your own home, if you're feeling that and you know where it's coming from, talk to that person. Because that person is hurting, no matter what it is. They're not in a good space. Maybe you can lift them up. Maybe not, but at least try.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much called, like I've heard, energy vampires. That's what they're called.
Yes.
Yes.
Where they keep like leeching on the people. Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause, like,
but
for
you
example,
can get rid of that.
Yeah.
Over the period of time that I've known this, and I've probably over 18, 19 years now, I honestly haven't had, and I don't feel bad about this, a lot of problems with that type of thing. because I realize the more you have fear in certain things, or the more you're scared of things, you're bringing it to you. So I try to recognize that and not bring in more of that negativity. I don't do it all the time, but if I feel it's getting worse, whatever it is, I know that I'm feeding into that. So just know that you don't want this. You don't want people playing. It's the same in the spirit world. They play games with you if you allow them to. But if you're positive, you're bringing in positive spirituality. So, I mean, even when I astral project and I went on my travels, people have said, did you get into bad situations? I will never allow myself to think that I'm going to get into a bad situation. I can't tell you that that's how it's always going to be, but that's how my mind tells me. So wherever I go, I know I'm safe. I know I'm protected. So I don't have any, right now, not too bad situations.
And what do you think about like liquors? You know how they call them wine and spirits? That's why the spirits are called like alcohol is a spirit.
I can't quite hear you, I'm sorry.
What do you think about like wine and spirits? You know how they have spirits named, like a whiskey is a spirit's name,
Oh, okay.
or like alcohol. If you spelt it different in Arabic, that's another spirit. And like gin is another spirit as well, like genie, jinn.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about that? You think those are
I
real?
think that's very interesting, actually, very interesting, because we call drinks spirits.
Exactly.
And if you look at some of the names, we've
spirits.
got somebody talking to us here from the other room. Yes, I actually have never really looked into that, but it's a very interesting subject.
Yes.
Because why do we call drink spirits? It changes
you know
our
how Jesus turned water to wine?
Yes.
And there's good and evil?
Yes.
So that's why they put wine in spirits. Because
Yes.
spirits aren't good for you. You shouldn't be consuming them.
It's an interesting topic, but there again, I'm going to give an overall picture, no matter what it is, spirits or demons or whatever. Let's change our thought process, because the more you think you've got a demon, the more that demon is
It's
able
gonna
to
come.
feed off you.
Exactly.
So just say, hey, I have no demons. I'm happy. I'm okay. Even if you're not, they don't maybe know that.
Exactly.
Say, leave me alone. I don't want any part of this, okay? I'm positive. You can't touch me. That's the best thing to do.
Exactly.
Now, Sally, I have a question, just kind of backtracking to what we were talking about just a moment ago. Let's say you were going to be going somewhere, and you have your intuition, and you're having a bad feeling, you're feeling like uneasy, maybe you shouldn't go, and then you go, but it's an amazing time. Why would that intuition be telling you one thing when it ended up being a different way?
Okay, that's a very good question from what we've been talking about. Okay, because you're aware of it, you've actually changed your vibrational energy. Because if you know that this is not where I want to go, but you're still going, in the process of that, you're lifting your vibrational energy because you've recognized it. So now you're going to attract a higher vibrational energy, because what you want in the first place, because you're going there, is to have a good time. So you don't have to have a bad time, because you're going to lift that up and attract that vibrational energy to you. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
That's my guides. I have a certain guide or collective that will always say, does that make sense? So I know they're with me right now.
Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you.
Joanne?
I'm thinking of one.
When you went away, when you went back to visit where you were from, did you feel differently that you were connecting with the past?
I went back with a different mindset, actually, and maybe I'll relay this story that I had explained to you. I'm from London, and Steve and I had 3 days in London, so we took a tour. It was one of the, I don't remember a lot, because when I've gone back to London, I've just gone to relatives, but he wanted to see the sights. So we got a bus that's an on-off bus. You get off at different stops. But what I didn't know is I got on the wrong bus. So I'm looking at the map, and I'm going, the map says we should be here, but we were in an entirely different place. But again and again, I said, I don't remember anything. This is ridiculous. This is my home right in the center of London. But as we're going along, I wasn't on the wrong bus, because suddenly, and he remembered the street that I had told him that I had lived on. And it suddenly said that they were going down that street. And suddenly, I see my apartment building, I see everything. So I was meant to show Steve that. And what it did is that it showed me, and it was important that I saw that, because I am so different to when I first left London 40 years ago. And seeing that and being with him, and which I thought was accidental, but it was coincidental. It wasn't coincidental for me to see that. I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, I have to give myself a little credit because I've worked on myself, but I don't have the ego, oh my God, I've changed so much. But it was enough to show me that I have certainly changed from when I was a child, from that building where I used to live. So I needed to see that. And I'm coming from a different place right now. That's all it is. I changed my mindset.
Do you feel like you are answering the calling you were sent to do?
I do now. Absolutely, I do. I didn't know at first what I'm meant to do with all that I'm doing, but I'm getting to the last stages of my life. I have to be truthful about that. I'm no spring chicken anymore, as you would say. But I'm getting to the last part of my life. And if I can pass on, and I've had a lot of different things in my life that have happened to me, of how I'm now settled down and I'm understanding so much. All that I've had in my life, and I see that by even going back to London, some of it was a lot of downs, but I see that it all had a purpose to me now, and I'm coming out of that, and I'm looking at everything that had happened to me from a different point of view. And I need to tell people this because we're all at different stages in our lives. We're young, we're middle-aged, we're old. I don't know what I call waking up, but if we're able to do that, have a look at your life where you were maybe 5, 6 years ago and see what's happening. And if you have this urge, like I have now, to change everything, to look at it from a different perspective, go with it. Go with it. It's so important for me, for my final years on this earth, to understand this, because I do believe in reincarnation, very much so. I've had a lot of validation. So I won't lose, and I'm not just me, anybody that's going through this, we won't lose what we're learning as long as we're aware of it. I believe, and my guide told me this, that what we're learning now, if I want to come back and remember this, as he did, because he remembered many of his lives, just tell yourself that, because this life has been important to me, for me to wake up from what I'm learning. And I just need to tell myself, so we'll come back into this world, if that's what we choose, because we have choice, and we will understand more.
When I'm cleansing a place, after I feel like a weight, is that me putting my energy out in a spot?
Putting your energy?
When I'm cleansing a spot, like my house or anywhere, I feel like a weight afterwards. That's me outputting my energy, right?
You're putting your energy into cleansing things? Is that? Yes, that's important too. But the most important is to be aware of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're aware of what you're cleansing, speak it, and then it'll cleanse it. Because all this is, it's from my perspective, and I can't tell you that I'm correct, but we're playing a game. And if we've had enough of all this negativity, let's change it. There's nothing wrong in saying, I want this different. I want to cleanse this. I want to meet this person. I'm going to meet this person that's going to help me, whatever it is, or I'm going to succeed, or I'm going to use the cafe. This cafe is going to explode and it's going to be amazing. Put that out. What we put out will transpire.
Sally, so I've been thinking a lot about going back home, which holds a lot of negativity and pain for me. But I have a best friend back home whose birthday is next month. And we used to have a friend group, and I cut all of them off but her. And I know that there's a lot of pain there that they hold towards me. What would you think the best approach for me to handle that situation spiritually would be? Okay, I'm not going to tell you not to go. If you go with an attitude of, again, I'm going to use the word positivity, but if you feel that you can't handle that,
See, I feel that if you feel that you want to go there, you may be ready to do this, but only you have the answer to that. So let's say you're planning on going and then something says to you, no, it's not my time to go right now. Go with what you're feeling. But if you feel that you can go and you can handle it, be aware of what you may have to contend with. But if you go with positivity, you may be able to change. I'm not the person. I'm not saying we can't change anybody, but we can change by example. And that's really important, to change by example. If you show a negative person and they're talking to you, but you're raising above that and you're giving them good advice or whatever, or even how things may have happened to you and how you've been able to understand that and you've come out of it, that's showing them by example. So I can't tell you not to go, but be aware of what you may be getting yourself into. Because if you feel that you're going with negativity, don't let it bring you down the best you can. Show them that you've risen above that. Does that make sense to you?
No, absolutely, yeah.
Good.
And like for me, I feel positive going into it. I feel like I'm ready. I'm more concerned that they're not going to handle it well. Seeing me, being around me, I feel like there's a lot of emotions that are going to come up at that time, which is completely understandable. I just
Yeah, but you're halfway there because you're aware of that. So again, I'm going to say by your example, if things are said to you of whatever it is, I mean, I don't know the situation, that you've risen above that, you are who you are. They may be going through something without knowing the whole scenario, I don't know. But just go with a mindset that what you go by your own example, okay? And if things get bad, step away. But say to yourself, I can probably handle this. If you can't, then I think, then again, walk away slightly from a situation. But go with a mindset that you are able at this point, if you feel that you are able to handle a lot of the negativity, to bring it into positivity.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Would you call daydreaming and astral planning the same thing?
Daydream and astral projection? No, it's not. Our daydreaming is coming from our own thoughts, our imagination. Astral projection is our astral body, which is a different situation. So you are actually in that place in your in your astral body. Daydreaming is just daydreaming. It's more of what I would call the illusion.
Wait, so question for the astral projecting, I know people can come to you, I guess, in wherever you're at home or whatever, but is it possible like they can like kind of like physically touch you? Because okay, for example, like one time I know it was just me and my dog were at home and I just happened to fall asleep and I just felt like a gentle hand just like touch me. I'm like, I woke up and I'm like, I know nobody's here, so can that play a part? Or
it's slightly when you're astral projecting, we're on what we call an astral plane. And that astral plane has people that have departed as ourselves.
Because it was a calming touch. Like it wasn't like
if you feel that, I believe that is them touching you. Right. Whether you're actually astral projecting on that plane or they've come to visit you here on Earth. But if you feel that touch, be aware that they are actually touching you. Talk to them. It's good. Never get scared because that fear will send them away.
And I was, because I was like,
In fact, when I started writing down, I had a really good friend. Her name was Dawn, actually. And she said to me, all these things that you're saying, they don't happen to me, because I was going. And she said, wait a minute, I felt someone tugging at my bed. I said, just go with it and let's see what happens. So she did.
Would you call the astral plane like the fourth dimension?
I'm not sure of the terminology here because astral projection in the fourth dimension may be slightly different. But there is physically an astral plane where we go, where we can meet people. This is what I've heard and this is what I feel. I didn't know that in the beginning. So we all go there. We all visit there. We just don't know we're there.
Yeah.
And now
the difference between a dream and a projection is that projection, I can remember, and I've mentioned this before, 18 years ago where I went, because I was physically there and I have remembered that. I can't remember a dream from 18 years ago. That's my subconscious coming out. I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you in detail where I was.
Yeah. And it's the same, like for the example, like I just remember it happened like during high school, and I guess they probably visited me here just because like I was going through like a lot like with high school and didn't think
Well,
that I
they're
was
here-
gonna
they're here to
graduate
help
and
us.
stuff. But they just let me know like you're gonna
Yeah,
be
they're
okay,
letting you
calm
know.
down.
I mean, I was very stubborn with them coming to me, and they had to let me know that I could paint and that I had visions of my reincarnations from other lifetimes because I'm drawing that. So I was not an easy subject, but they didn't leave me alone because they wanted to wake me up, and I see that now, which was 18 years ago.
Yeah,
So
and
we all
that's
have that problem.
yeah. And that's what I struggle is like worrying, like trying to like just
Right,
calm
right,
down and
right.
yeah.
I guess we've got time for just one or two more questions.
Okay.
When you know there's a message for you, you ask your guide or your guardian for a message, but you don't hear it. Is there a way to get clearer understanding to receive the message?
Well, it's just like anything else, Dawn. It's an intuition, it's telepathy. So I can't tell you that they physically stand here, although I had Aldo who materialized, and they say to you, I don't want you to do this, and they give you a message and give you all the reasons. But they are there because they have a form of telepathy. So again, which I have talked about before, go with your instinct, your gut. So if you feel that they are there, because we will feel them if we're aware of it, talk to them and say, well, I'm not sure, is this the right way to go? And if your first response, and it's better to go with your first response is, no, don't do that, then listen to yourself, basically, because that's what we're doing, but they're helping us. Or they say, go ahead and do this, go ahead and do it. They are helping us. We've got to listen, we've got to tune in.
I think we're going to wrap this up.
Okay. All right, everybody. It was fun being with you all today, and I'll see you this time next week. No vacations for a while, so I'll see you.
Wait,
Bye-bye.
did she say see you?
Thank you.
Click the 3 and then fade it over. Yeah, click it, fade it over.
Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.